Alright, so I am presenting the convention of the Mie within the theater tradition of Kabuki. The first official Kabuki performance is generally recognized to have been performed in 1603 by a shrine maiden, former shrine maiden by the name of Kuni. It only lasted a short time. By the 1620s, women had already been banned from performing within Kabuki because of the ruling class's distaste for the prostitution that was generally weaved within it. After performances, the girls would generally be paid for sex, so they moved to hiring young boys for it, which was then banned in 1653 due to the same problems, which is when Kabuki really began as a drama as opposed to mainly a dance performance, as due to the decrease in sex appeal, they needed to move to a more slightly more wholesome base, although they did maintain that sexualization of the actors as an important part, which led to a lot of onagata, I believe, performances, where the men would do their best to be very convincingly feminine, which actually led to an increase in the popularity of androgyny within the people of Japan, in part because of Kabuki's widespread appeal within the commoners of the populace, even though it was often looked down upon by nobles and more high-ranking officials. It had a lot of appeal among the poor base, who used it to learn a lot about the legends of Japan, and also Kabuki was also used to relate moral tales often. Ritual religious performances were also used to inspire the acting within Kabuki, primarily by beginning with Danjuro, who was an important performer and creator for early Kabuki, when it was just getting off its feet as a drama. Danjuro was actually the person to create the arigato, or rough style of actor, who often portrayed heroes within the stories, and had a very boisterous appeal, as opposed to the more withdrawn or reticent male characters and the female characters that the actors played, which were more small generally, physically and as far as characters went. Within the Kabuki tradition, with the convention of the Mie, an interesting thing to note is the audience interaction with it, because they do generally have the audience interacting fairly heavily within the plays, although it tends to involve a significant amount of fourth wall breaking. And they have the homogotoba, or kekagoi, which is where, as the actor approaches a mie, a point of high tension in the play, the audience, primarily the men within the audience, will often begin to shout approval and their anticipation to see the mie. And then after the mie is done, they'll often shout praise for the actor, often trying to one-up each other with the praise, and complimenting the actor's family line, which led to
no worries, it's all good.
Yeah, the actors have a long line of family tradition. They often take on the names of their predecessors with the addition of a number to signify how far they've come, the number of people that have performed this role and held this title before them. For example, there's been Danjuro the Ninth, so the ninth person to learn the style of Danjuro after the original Danjuro. The Mie is a dynamic pose within Kabuki theater. It often focuses on antagonistic muscles to create tension and aggression within the body of the actor. Although, despite that aggression, traditionally The pose is more defensive than offensive due to the underlying cultural beliefs in Japan, where the person to go onto the offensive against the defensive fighter is often the one to lose. You want to remain defensive for as long as possible. A challenge I experienced in researching and trying to apply the convention was simply the lack of cohesive databases which could explicitly describe the ways to move into and hold the poses. Even finding pictures could be kind of difficult. They could be like mentioned, but then it wouldn't actually describe how the pose would look. I believe due to the frequency of it being related to more religious poses and being just taught by within families of actors, which would decrease the need to have that written down in such a way. Right, and ways that I've practiced the convention, in front of a mirror mostly for the physical stuff, but an important part of the poses tends to be the crossing of the eyes, which isn't so easy to view in a mirror when you're doing it yourself. So I would try to practice that in front of a classmate or my dad and have them relate to me how well that went. Kind of hard to see when you're crossing your eyes after all. And I've got a moment, but I have to really practice it.
Okay. Do you have your learned stuff or no?
Learn stuff. Oh, what I've learned from it?
Yes.
No, I haven't